tonight's speaker for the evening is Nisha. She'll be sharing with us a Halloween story from the Spooky Southwest book. She has modified a little. The story is called Mr. and Mrs. Whiskers' Message. She has modified the story a bit to fit the goal of her conflict communicator manual to use your body language. So, Nisha, without further ado,
Fellow Toastmasters, Donald came home late one night after work and found his wife Ethel wandering around the kitchen with a big yellow cat at her knees. "And who is this?" he asked jovially. His wife replied, "This is our new cat. She just appeared at the kitchen door and wanted to come in. None of the neighbors know where she came from, so I guess she's ours, and it's good to have some company around the house." Donald bent down and he petted the cat. The cat purred and stretched. He said, "Well, we can stretch my income to feed 3 mouths." Donald's son had recently taken his job at the mill, and he and his wife were leisurely enjoying the old age. He liked to keep busy though, so he spent few hours a day cutting and hauling wood for the fireplace. The cat soon became an integral part of Donald's family. Every morning when he would milk the cow, his wife would give little milk to the cat. The cat followed Ethel around the house supervising her, and the cat sat with Donald and Ethel at the fireplace after their supper. One such evening, Ethel told Donald that she was really worried because the neighbors took rather oddly when she talked about the cat to them. They said, "We need to get rid of this cat as soon as possible because this cat is some kind of ghost or witch who has transformed herself into the cat." Donald replied, "Really, a cat was a witch?" And they both laughed heartily, as this notion was ludicrous because the cat was now a family. As days passed by and autumn came, the days were shorter now, and Donald would work until early sunset cutting and hauling the wood. One night in October, just like tonight, he didn't finish half the wood until dusk. As soon as he piled the last log, he started down the road to get home before the dark, since he had forgotten his lantern. As he rounded a corner, he saw a group of black cats at a distance in the middle of the road. They were invisible in the growing dark. As he drew nearer and nearer, he saw that these cats were carrying a stretcher. He stopped and rubbed his eyes. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Slowly, a cat walked up to him and said, "Hello, sir. I am Mr. Whiskers. Could you please tell my Aunt Cat that Polly Grundy is dead?" Donald was astonished. His jaw just dropped to the floor. He couldn't believe a talking cat. Oh my God. He hurried past the little group, trying to look away, but he couldn't help thinking, who this Mr. Whiskers was, and who is this Aunt Cat, and who is Polly Grundy? Suddenly, he was confronted by another cat. She came right in front of him and looked into his eyes. He stared at her. She said, "Hello, I am Mrs. Whiskers. I have a message for my aunt too. Could you please tell her that Polly Grundy is dead?" And the cat just stopped past Donald and joined the cats that were carrying the stretcher. Donald was completely nonplussed. This was getting really spooky and creepy. Talking cats, Aunt Cat, who is Polly Grundy? Around him, the woods were getting darker and darker, and he did not want to stay in woods with these talking cats. Yes. He thought that this was a real strange dream brought upon by working overtime, and he just wanted to go home and started running from that place where the cats had gathered. The cats behind him yelled, "Old man, please tell our Aunt Can that Polly Grundy is dead." He had had enough. He sprinted for home as soon as he could, and he did not stop till he reached the safety of his porch. He paused there, he caught a breath. He did not want to worry Ethel. So inside out. She let him have his supper, let him relax, and as they sat, as usual, near the fireplace where the cat was just laying on the ground, she said, "Come on, Donald, tell me what's bothering you." He said, "I don't want to worry you, Ethel, but something is really wrong with my brains. While I was walking home today, I thought I saw a group of black cats carrying a stretcher. And then in that stretcher, there was a dead cat. And then I thought they would talk to me. They introduced themselves as Mr. and Mrs. Whiskers, and they had a message that to their Aunt Ken, that Polly Grundy is dead." The yellow cat lay beside Donald, and as soon as she heard that Polly Grundy is dead, she leapt out and went and sat on the window. And there she cried, "What? Polly Grundy is dead! Then I am the queen of the witches!" And instantly she transformed herself into a witch. She stretched her arm and magically a broom appeared. She kicked the door with a bang, she jumped out of the broom and went away in the dark. Ethel was all surprised. Ethel instantly took a bucket of water and poured it over fainting Donald's head. As Donald revived himself from the faint and sat up dripping and swearing as the water was ice cold, Ethel, who saw positive in everything, said, "The good news is that you have nothing to worry about. Your brains are normal. The bad news is that our cat just left to become the queen of the witches, and you have to get me another cat because I can't stay alone in this house." Donald immediately said, "Oh no,